Yo, what's up everybody? If you guys want to learn how to build like this, then make sure you watch the full video all the way through, as I'll be explaining how to do each and every one of those high ground retakes, as well as how to connect them and how to, use high ground retakes properly. Anyways, let's get right into the video. Okay, so the first thing you guys should be able to do, you should be able to place a wall. And I know that may be harder for some of you players with 1000 ping, but I mean that would be probably the first step. Okay, so the first high ground retake that we're going to look at is this one. So the first step for this high ground retake is to be able to do a flyful cone, which looks like this. And so this is like a full one. Normally when I do it, I kind of just do half, where I kind of just like, it's like that. Just like on one side rather than behind me as well. However, if there's an opponent behind you, it may be useful to have it, the full one like that. But basically the way to learn this is to kind of like, just kind of practice the motion of just looking up. And then after you kind of get that down, jump into it. That way you don't lose your momentum. You can just keep ramping, out of it. So then for the retake, what you do is what I actually just did there by accident. So you do the flyful cone and then you extend it out like that, one extra cone, and then you place, your ramp. And if you wanted to, enforce the ramp, you could as well. But it's just a ramp. And then what I do is I edit the front two tiles, and then, I confirm it, place a wall, and then I kind of run up to the wall. Try not to hit the wall, it can slow you down, but I usually do just because I have it. But basically, you jump, and then when you look up, you grab the edit, and then you reset it. Don't confirm the reset though, and then get these two tiles that were behind you before, and then jump and confirm. And so what this high ground retake really is just like a really protected 180, because if you do like a normal 180, you can be shot at from behind up until you place that wall. Because if their opponent's behind you, you're over here about to place this wall still, and you're completely exposed. But in the high ground retake, like this, the opponent behind you cannot see you, cannot shoot you. You like this, still can't see you because the ramp is like, the cone is still like in the form of a ramp, and then you jump, and to their perspective the cone went from this to that, and you were always behind it. And so it's an easy way to get height. Okay, so the second high ground retake we're going to look is, so the setup for this one is going to be a doubled ramp. So it's just a ramp where you have them above you. There's a lot of ways that this ends up getting set up, whether there's like a wall or if there's like a bunch of congested build. It's pretty easy. Usually if I'm just running up and there's nothing around me, I'll just place one floor, edit either side of it, usually this side because I'm usually on this side of my builds, and then I just place a stair above me like that. Okay, so then once you're in this position where there's a ramp and they're at they end at the same level as if there's a floor right there, you place a cone in 3 different spots. So we go here, here, and here, and you can place this first cone pretty far back, about like 3/4 onto this stair, the lower stair, which is good. The earlier you place it, the better. So just like that and that, and this is kind of the hard part. You gotta place a wall here and then a wall there as well. And the wall that goes behind this stair is really crucial, because this is what's going to hold the whole retake together once you edit that cone out. So basically you kind of jump and place the 2 walls and then place a ramp. And sometimes I place a floor here, just, by habit of placing floors sometimes, but you don't need to. However, if you don't place this wall, the floor will protect it from collapsing. So sometimes it's good too. And then from this position, there's a lot of things you can do. The simple and like most common way of getting out of this is just edit, and then you're here, and you can just ramp out. But from this position, you could also reset that, and then do that, and then you're kind of going this way. It's really up to you. Or another thing that I do, which I don't see too many people do, is from this they'll like side jump, and then they'll keep going out. it's a little harder, a lot less common, but I do it from time to time. So yeah, but most of the time you just go out this way and you keep ramping. And then the next retake that we're gonna look at, and the last one that I did, and this is one that I actually just learned kind of recently. I got the beginning of it from FaZe Sway, but I don't actually remember how he did it, so I was kind of just messing around with it and again picked it up myself. So really all that you do is you're ramping, and the earlier you can place it the better. You place floor and a cone, and you want to make sure that you don't place it like this above you, because then you're gonna get trapped and just slow your flow down. And so the way you kind of avoid that is like everything in this is like there's like a grid of where builds are gonna place at. So you kind of gotta understand that. So if you're really low and you look up, like it's kind of like you have to be past the halfway point of the stair. So if you look, like this would be the halfway point. If I'm below the halfway point and I try to place the floor, it won't place. But if I get above the halfway point, then you look like higher, kind of, it's hard to explain, then it'll place, and then the cone will place as well. And then the reason why you want to place these so early is because you want to edit them as fast as you can so you can set up. And so I just edit the 2 right tiles. I mean, I guess you could do the left if you wanted, but I mean, I don't know. It's harder for me that way because of the perspective of the camera being over the left person, like the right hand view. So I edit 2 right sides, and then while you're still on the ramp, you place a ramp above you. And then this is kind of the hard part. You have to jump and then place floor stair. And this is the hard part that I messed up a lot. And if it's like, if you're doing a ramp, if you had it under ramp rush and then you tried to jump, your ramp might place it there. So it's like, it's really, that was the hardest part for me to learn about this retake. But then from this position, this is as far as I can remember of what the original retake looked like. But I know there's a couple things you could do. You know, from here you could build 2 walls and then flip this, like the ramp that way, and kind of like a 90 almost. But what I decided to do was, when I'm in this position, I added the 2 right tiles again, and then it's kind of a similar motion to the retake we did down there, where you jump in like 180 and then you place a floor or a wall there and a wall next to it and then ramp. And this is kind of hard because if you jump too early, the cone's gonna like, or the ramp's gonna kind of mess up your jump. So you gotta kind of time it just right, and you just drag to the side and wall, ramp. So if we look at what that would look like in full speed, it would just be like that. And I kind of messed up the edit there at first, but you kind of get the picture. And then the other 2 retakes in full speed would just be that, and then let's height, drop down. And then the other one was like that in full speed. So I had spent a lot of time in creative practicing high-ground retakes, and for a long time I really couldn't get it down. Once I switched to keyboard and mouse and found the right sensitivity and the right binds, that was when I really was able to kind of pick them up quickly. But I think that the best thing is to just practice them. It's like anything else, practice is going to make the progress, and I just lagged really hard. But you know, just kind of spend some time, you know, maybe like 30 minutes a day just practicing one retake, and then over time you'll eventually kind of get it on lock, and then you can do it, you know, whenever. So these are retakes though. These retakes I normally only do in creative. I don't do these a lot in an actual game, just because usually high-ground retakes, they waste a lot of mats. Like, not waste, but they use a lot of mats, and that's not really like applicable to an in-game scenario. You know, usually you have, like, if you're in an arena, you have 500 materials, and if you're in a pub, you usually almost never have the cap of 999. So it's like, it's not incredibly, I mean, you can use them. Some of them are pretty good. I would say this one's pretty easy, and it doesn't take too many materials, and there's other ways to set it up rather than the 5-foot cone. If you were in a doubled ramp, you could just go like that, and do the retake. But I would say just keep practicing, and then the hardest part I actually spent a lot of time trying to figure out was how to connect them and how to do so many. And really all that was just kind of step away and just kind of think about how they work and what side of, you know, your builds do they put you on. So like if you 90 left, you're usually gonna, or if you 90 right, you're usually gonna be on the left side of your builds. And if you 90 right, you're gonna be on the right side. So kind of just think about where you're gonna be and how you want to come out of your retakes. But the biggest thing is to not just, if you're in a creative battle, don't just be going just doing all these crazy things and trying to do all these triple edits and just, you know, all that, because you're just wasting time and materials, and you're gonna get closer to height and your opponent could get an easy shot on you. These retakes, like, you have to be able to be aware of where your enemy is and to track them, use audio cues, and if they shoot at you from behind, kind of know where they are. That way when you come out, you're like, okay, so different retakes are put you in different spots. And so once you learn your retakes, learn where they put you at once they're done and how that's going to help you get the kill, because they're not just a random thing that you just do. They have a purpose, and you have to kind of learn that purpose. But anyway, this was my first video that I actually made where I was actually like talking the entire time over the game. Kind of nervous, but if you guys enjoyed it and you found it useful, let me know in the comments, as maybe I'll make a second part. I have to learn more high ground retakes though, of course, or if there's anything else you want to learn, like box fighting tips or zone wars tips, or I don't know, anything you want to learn, just let me know in the comments and I'll be sure to make that video. But yeah, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It really helps me out. Liking the video also helps. But yeah, peace.